Earth's capital is disappointingly beige. That was Zarnok's first impression as he descended upon a suburban Starbucks in New Jersey, believing it to be the planet's nerve center due to its suspicious abundance of glowing symbols and highly caffeinated locals. He arrived in full Imperial regalia, cape fluttering, eyes glowing, orbital dreadnought parked illegally in the handicapped zone. The barista screamed. Zarnok bowed. Protocol. He announced his intentions with a booming voice and a gentle threat of vaporization. People of Earth, submit your muffins and your leadership. The barista fainted. A man in yoga pants offered him oat milk. Then she walked in. 5 feet 8 inches of clinical neutrality, cardigan, clipboard, a mug that read, "I'm listening, barely." Her name tag said Dr. Linda. Her energy said, "Has been through 3 divorces and now charges by the hour." Zarnok narrowed his eyes. "Doctor," Linda smiled softly. "And how does that make you feel?" He fired his wrist cannon. The ficus next to her desk burst into flames. She did not flinch. "It's okay to be afraid of vulnerability," she said, sipping chamomile. Zarnok took a step back. Was this an ambush? He scanned her for hidden weapons. Nothing. No plasma blades, no venom sacs, not even emotional blackmail pheromones. And yet, somehow, she was winning. The glass doors slammed open behind her. Enter Lyssa, his Earth liaison and diplomatic babysitter, wearing a "Don't talk to me until I've ignored you twice" t-shirt and chewing spearmint gum like it was a political act. "Oh, you met Linda," she said flatly. "Did you kill her?" Zarnok gestured to the smoking remains of the ficus. "I vanquished her green guardian." Lyssa sighed, loudly. "That was a plant. I sensed it was emotionally compromised." Dr. Linda jotted something down on her clipboard. "Paranoid projection with floral hostility. Classic." Lyssa pointed to the melted armchair. "Zarnok, we talked about this. You can't blast every civilian who asks about your feelings." "She insinuated introspection. She asked your name." "I have earned no shame." Lyssa pinched the bridge of her nose. "Okay, new plan. We're going to therapy." Zarnok recoiled as if struck. Is that a code word for sanctioned mind playing? No, it's where people talk to someone boring for an hour and then blame their parents. So it is a form of torture. 15 minutes later, Zarnok found himself seated unwillingly on what he described as a suspiciously squishy interrogation slab, which Dr. Linda corrected as the couch. Lyssa sprawled beside him, sipping cold brew like a warlord of apathy. This is diplomacy. Try not to incinerate anything unless it's symbolic. Zarnok crossed his arms, cape bunching around him like a wounded ego. "You forced me to confess on a sofa." Dr. Linda gave him a clipboard. "Just write down 3 things you feel." He stared at the paper, then at her, then at Lyssa. Confused, betrayed, mildly itchy. "That's a great start," Dr. Linda said. Zarnok leaned in suspiciously. "Are you harvesting my vulnerability for data extraction?" "No, but I am billing by the minute." Lyssa nodded approvingly. "She's the real villain here." Zarnok stood abruptly. "This is an elaborate Earth trap, a test of my will, but I shall endure. I am Zarnok the Magnificent. I have bested the mind mazes of Sector Varn. I have dated 3 Libras." Dr. Linda scribbled furiously. "Delusional grandeur, astrological trauma, possible codependency. I am a galactic tyrant. I do not process emotions." Lyssa tossed him a stress ball shaped like a tiny brain. "You do now." He squeezed it once. It squeaked. And for a brief, terrible second, Zarnok felt something soft. But it wouldn't last. Because on the other side of the galaxy, a warfleet had just received a signal from their emperor, and they did not understand squeaky toys. Not yet. Zarnok stood glaring at the couch like it had personally insulted his honor. "I shall not lower myself onto the flesh-colored sponge of deceit." Lyssa didn't even blink. She scrolled her phone with one hand and sipped iced coffee with the other. "It's beige, and it's from IKEA." Dr. Linda, who had survived several decades of human marriages, leaned forward gently. "It's perfectly safe, Lord Zarnok." "Perfectly safe is what the Jalarian slug priest said before he baptized me in lava." He drew his plasma gauntlet. Lyssa didn't look up. "If you melt the couch, you buy the couch." Zarnok's eye twitched. "Trial by plasma. You shall defend this fabric abomination with your life." Dr. Linda opened a drawer, calmly removed a stress hedgehog, and squeezed it. Twice. Then she smiled. "How about we start by naming emotions instead of incinerating furniture?" Zarnok's fingers hovered above the plasma trigger. Fine. I name this emotion contempt. Lyssa crossed her legs, still scrolling. Not bad. Try adding some childhood trauma. Earth loves a good origin sob story. Zarnok snapped his head toward her. You wish to hear my childhood? Dr. Linda nodded. That could be very helpful. His cape flared dramatically as he turned to the window. I was born beneath the triple moons of Grork, raised by battle llamas in the vortex caves of screaming ice. My crib was a hollowed-out meteor. My first word was vengeance. My bedtime lullaby was silence. Dr. Linda blinked twice. And how did that feel? Zarnok's voice dropped to a whisper. Cold. Very, very exfoliating. There was a pause. Lyssa finally glanced up. Did he just say exfoliating? Zarnok lifted one trembling hand toward the ceiling. And yet, in the cold, I found purpose. I trained in the blade arts of the Howling Sisters. I composed my first cosmic haiku at the age of 4. Stars fall like regrets. My enemies weep purple. I eat soup alone. Dr. Linda nodded while subtly ducking behind her desk. Lyssa tossed her phone onto the table. Okay, yeah, he's spiraling. We're entering the accidental slam poetry phase. Someone get a blanket. Zarnok clenched his fists. I have bared my soul. Where is my sticker? Dr. Linda, voice still soothing, but now from beneath the desk, replied, We'll get to rewards after we identify your attachment style. I am unattachable. I once scared away a love mimic by being too emotionally distant. Lyssa snorted. That's impressive. They literally feed on that. I am an emotional paradox, a swirling storm of repression and drama. The couch creaked slightly as he paced in front of it like a panther preparing to monologue. Dr. Linda peeked out. Have you ever tried meditation? Zarnok turned slowly. I once stared at a candle for 4 days. It screamed. Dr. Linda reached back under her desk. I'll just mark that as resistant to mindfulness. Lyssa raised an eyebrow. You think? Zarnok spun toward her. You mock me, but I have embraced vulnerability. I have opened up, Lyssa nodded. Yeah, right after threatening the upholstery. Zarnok puffed out his chest. This is how warriors bond. You described your upbringing like a cross between Batman and a yogurt commercial. Dr. Linda cautiously emerged with a notepad and a cookie. Would you like a snack? Zarnok paused. Is it a peace offering or a test? It's oatmeal raisin. Then it is both. He snatched the cookie, ate it whole, and for a moment, peace. Until the couch made a suspicious squish. Zarnok narrowed his eyes. This furniture plots against me. But he didn't know. The real threat was still orbiting Earth, decoding his emotional spike as a battle cry. I just wanted a sticker. The room went silent. Even the couch seemed confused. Zarnok blinked, slowly, horrified. I did not say that. Dr. Linda, ever composed, tapped her pen. Yes, you did. I absolutely did not. Lyssa nodded, eyes wide. Nope, that came out loud and clear. You even made a little whimper noise at the end. Zarnok clutched his translator medallion. It blinked red. Lyssa leaned forward. Wait, is that thing on deep vulnerability mode? Zarnok fumbled at the controls. Impossible. That setting is locked behind 3 layers of sarcasm and a sob test. The translator beeped. Emotional override engaged. Zarnok's face twitched. I am not in override. I am in command. I am feeling a lot. He looked down at his gloves. I don't know what to do with my hands. Dr. Linda, with perfect neutrality, handed him a small squishy cat toy. He held it like it might explode. I conquered 17 star systems and no one ever gave me a sticker, not even a shiny one. With the sparkles. Lyssa put a hand over her mouth. Zarnok continued, now fully possessed by the demon of confession. I built a death laser called the Hug Denier. I renamed my flagship the Emotional Distance. I wear this cape to hide the cracks in my heart plating. He gasped. Why am I rhyming? The translator chirped. Poetic defense mechanism activated. Lyssa fell off the couch. Dr. Linda scribbled furiously. Fascinating. Extreme repression, manifesting through accidental lyrical processing, possibly treatable with cookies and mild applause. Zarnok shook. I feel seen, and I hate it, but also, I don't. The translator beeped again. Distress signal broadcast initiated. Lyssa's eyes snapped open. Wait, what? High above Earth, somewhere in low orbit, the dread pearl of empathy, Zarnok's flagship, received the signal. Fleet AI interpreted it as catastrophic emotional overload. Initiating protocol. Comfort protocol. Phase 1. Atmospheric deployment of 800 gallons of molten lavender pudding. Back in the office, the windows turned purple. Zarnok looked out. Why is it raining? Dessert. Lyssa grabbed her phone. You triggered the pudding bombs? Dr. Linda ducked under the desk again. Is this a metaphor? Zarnok shouted. No, it's tactical compassion. From the parking lot came the screams of mildly scalded yoga moms. The couch jiggled ominously. Zarnok stood frozen. Pudding streaked across his cape. I didn't mean for this to happen. Lyssa, dripping in dessert, pointed at him. You confessed one feeling and the planet gets dunked in soup. What happens if you discover attachment theory? Zarnok sank slowly into the couch, defeated. I only wanted acknowledgement. You got airstrikes made of gelatin. Dr. Linda peeked over the desk. Let's unpack that. But they wouldn't have time, because in the sky above them, Phase 2 was beginning. They laughed at my scrapbooking, but those pages were structured. Zarnok sat in the middle of the therapy room, lavender pudding dripping from his shoulder pads, clutching a soggy photo album he somehow conjured from hyperspace. On page 4 was a glittery sticker shaped like a starship and the caption, First Planet Conquered, Uranus, lol, written in shaky pastel ink. Lyssa, seated nearby and absolutely marinated in dessert, blinked slowly. You scrapbook? Zarnok sniffled. It helps me process the emotional fallout of intergalactic domination. Dr. Linda handed him a tissue. He missed. It stuck to his forehead. Lyssa wiped a blob of pudding from her brow. Okay, I'm gonna say something insane. Zarnok looked up, eyes glowing faintly from inner turmoil and high fructose regret. I think I actually kinda like your weirdness. He froze. The translator beeped, processing emotional input broadcasting signal. Far above Earth, Zarnok's flagship emitted a galactic-wide heart emoji flare. In the Pentagon, alarms went off. Sir, it's a love beacon, and it's glittery. DEFCON 2, I want every psychologist in the tri-state area on red alert. Back in the office, Zarnok stood slowly, arms shaking, pudding cascading from his cape like dramatic frosting. You, like me? Lyssa squinted. I mean, not all the time. Statistically, maybe 7%. I shall frame this day. Dr. Linda clapped softly. That's progress. Zarnok turned to her, eyes wide. No, this is suspicious. You're too calm. What dark spell have you cast now? She held up a small journal with 2 pens, one for each of you, a shared reflection log. Zarnok recoiled like it was a cursed relic. And this, she poured tea, chamomile, with honey. Zarnok drew his plasma blade. It's a trap, emotional seduction in liquid form. Lyssa rolled her eyes. It's tea, Zarnok. People drink it. It doesn't bind your soul. He stared into the steam. It beckons. Dr. Linda handed him a mug. He held it like a loaded weapon. Is this how addiction starts? No, she said. This is how healing starts. Zarnok threw down the teacup and challenged the teapot to single combat. The teapot didn't respond, but the couch squeaked in approval. And as the last drizzle of pudding faded into the Earth's crust, Zarnok felt something new, a terrifying stillness, but not for long, because outside, something else was awakening. I have named the couch Steve. Zarnok said this without irony, while gently patting the left cushion like a war buddy. Dr. Linda gave a tiny, satisfied nod. That's a healthy attachment. Lyssa, now officially numb to the laws of logic and furniture affection, simply snapped a photo. In it, Zarnok sat cross-legged, pudding-stained, holding a mug that said, "Feelings are inevitable," with the confidence of a man who once invaded Neptune for less. She uploaded it with the caption, "Emperor of Feelings." Galactic TikTok exploded. Within 5 minutes, there were fan edits. One of them remixed his cosmic haiku with trap beats. Another stitched Lyssa's eye roll into an 8-hour loop. The humans were disturbingly efficient. Zarnok looked at her screen. I appear. Powerful. Lyssa didn't look up. You cried into a couch named Steve and tried to fight a kettle. And yet, they love me. He turned slowly toward Dr. Linda. Do Earthlings worship vulnerability? She smiled. We monetize it. He clutched the journal to his chest. This planet is both horrifying and mildly tolerable. Lyssa sipped her fourth iced coffee. That's basically a 5-star Yelp review from him. Zarnok stood. I feel changed. Perhaps not reborn, but emotionally repurposed. Dr. Linda offered a handshake. He hesitated, then extended a gloved hand. The shake was awkward, powerful, slightly electric. Possibly against intergalactic diplomatic code. Somewhere in the Geneva Convention, 3 minor clauses trembled. Lyssa snapped another photo. Violation number 14, unexpected sentiment surge. Zarnok turned to her. Shall we return to the warship? She shrugged. Might as well. You left the engine running. Dr. Linda waved them off. Same time next week? Zarnok paused, looked at Steve, then nodded. Yes, but Steve comes with me. Lyssa muttered, we are not putting a couch in the escape pod. They vanished in a shimmer of unresolved issues and pudding fumes. Outside, Earth continued spinning, slightly stickier. But therapy wasn't over. Not even close. Because next week, Zarnok faces humanity's strangest weapon, voluntary contact. They call it a hug, and somehow it happens right before the stabbing.